Hi, traders, and welcome to the PL Capital Weekly Market Review. I'm your host, Paul. In this video, we're going to look at the S&P, the Nasdaq, some stocks, and Bitcoin. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the economic calendar. So let's go to that. All right, so for next week, it's going to be a really quiet week, especially after this week. So I think the market is going to need some time to digest everything that just happened this past week. Monday, Empire State Manufacturing still supposed to be negative, but slightly better than last month. So market doesn't seem to really matter. They don't seem to care about like manufacturing, factory orders. I mean, the recent numbers for those areas have been pretty weak, and the market just continues to brush that off. So even though it's going to remain weak, I don't think anybody cares. Tuesday, retail sales, slight improvement from zero, up 0.3. Again, I don't see that mattering a whole lot. Housing data on Wednesday, some more housing data on Thursday. And again, you got more the Philly Fed manufacturing supposed to stay flat on Thursday also, and then you do have composite manufacturing and services PMI numbers coming out. I don't know if that'll be a big mover in either. And then you do have existing home sales on Friday. So overall, I think it's going to be a quiet week on the data side. Nothing that's going to move the market like we had this past week. All right, let's get on to the charts. Going to start with the S&P. This is the futures contract. And as I said last week, we're looking for a diagonal going up. And I see that we've got 4 waves in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're putting in this 5th wave. And I don't see it being done yet. So need to drill in, go down to a 1 hour. And here's the 4th wave, and now this is all the 5th wave going up. And I thought last week that it was 1, 2, and where were we over here? 3. I thought that was like going to be the A wave, and I thought we were going to get a B wave, and then they go up one more time for the C wave for the 5th wave. But this correction here was not deep enough for the B wave. And so what is happening now is they're making an impulse. So we still have this original push up and then a pretty deep correction. And then inside, this is all turning into an impulse. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this little piece here, this 5th wave, is turning into a diagonal because you got 3 waves to there, and here's a big 3 wave. So that was 1. That's 3 waves down for 2. I think that's 3 because there's like a little impulse up. They made this quick correction and then shot up and just barely broke that previous high. This all happened on Wednesday when CPI came out, and this was actually Fed stuff. But anyway, so 1, 2, they came up for 3, and I think completed 4 this morning, and now I need to go up and break 54, 54 one more time for the 5th wave, and then there's the potential that that'll be the 5th of this 5th wave of this huge move up since April, right? Yeah, since April. So a little bit more up, break 54, 54, and then we're going to have to see, because this all could be A, B, and C, and that could just end up being the A wave. So if they want to keep it up here for a while. They could make a B wave and then still one more up for the C wave, and then that'll complete the fifth wave. So it'll be a while before we really know exactly what's going on, because actually not until they break that low, 5205, will we be able to say that the fifth wave is in, and that's a substantial drop. So at a minimum, there's still more up to complete something. And the other pattern then is that they're making a really big impulse. And so this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that could be like the third wave. And this over here was 1, that came down for 2. This was all the third wave. You get a correction for 4, go up. And then that's going to be your impulse for the A wave. You get a B wave, and then still, so there's still a couple of patterns, and I only see up patterns. I mean, like I said, the only way this thing stops is if this is A, B, and then when they break that, that's going to complete the fifth of the fifth, and then you're going to get a really strong sell-off, correct, and then continue on down. So what to watch up here? I mean, it could get real choppy, and then that just means that they're probably making a big impulse, 1, 2, 3, then the 4 is going to come back down into all this stuff. Then they're going to go back up, and then you're going to get a correction. It's going to go under that level again for the B wave and then go back up. So we could be up here for a couple more weeks, just kind of chopping, making new highs and then correcting down and then still going up. So we'll have to watch, but definitely if you're in the long, you just got to know that there's a potential that this last wave up here ends this whole thing, and then the bigger correction starts, which is really hard to imagine in this market right now, because right now the market only goes up, but eventually there will be a correction coming, just a matter of when. So those are the patterns that I'm watching. So once they break this, then we're going to have to watch the reaction. Because if it's just a little baby 3, then I think that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going up for 5. And then you're going to get another correction. It's still more up. So going to have to watch once 54 is broken, how deep is that next correction? Because if this really sells off, then I think that this fifth wave is in, and then they won't be going up for a while until a bigger correction happens. So be careful once that breaks. Have some type of either hedging or options or taking profit. Do something. Have some type of plan ready. And then when we look at the Nasdaq, pretty much the exact same thing. You got this first initial push up, down, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and now this is all the fifth wave. Now the Nasdaq, they did break their previous high, so like their fifth wave, it looks like it's 1, this is 2, that was 3, that was 4, and now you do have, they just right at the end, literally within the last 5 minutes of the trading day, they broke this previous high that they set on Thursday. So for the Nasdaq, it almost looks like the fifth wave. There's 5 waves. It's just a matter of how high is that fifth wave. Because if we go back to the S&P, the S&P still has, what is that, 35? Yeah, like 20 points more up. I doubt that the Nasdaq is going to start to sell off. So I'm sure 19,699 is probably not going to be the high for this fifth wave. I'm sure they'll get into the 700s. And then just like the S&P, then we're going to have to watch, because then, there will be this potential that you have this, that could be A, B, and then here's your 5-wave for C. And then that completes the 5th wave. And then you're going to get, the start of a really big correction. Or just, the same thing. I mean, this could be 1, 2, and then this is all 3. Then you're going to get a 4, and then still more up for 5. So we're going to have to really watch when this 5th circle 5 ends. How big is that initial correction or initial drop? Is it corrective or is it impulsive? Because if it's impulsive, we do have the potential that the 5 is, this big 5 is in. So yeah, we just gonna have to wait on the markets. Seems like everything just wants to go out, and you can tell something's about to end because there's some really strong divergence building on MACD and RSI. So like they set the high today, and there's divergence right now. Even though they're going to go up a little bit more, I don't see it being like 200 points higher. Like they're going to be going to finish this 5th wave. So there's divergence. If we go back to the S&P, you got divergence there. So even when they do go up here, like I don't think it's going to be like going to like 5,600. I think it's just going to go up above slightly, 54, and there'll be divergence then. And so that's why I think definitely something is ending. It's just a matter of when we're up here, what type of correction are we getting? What type of drop? So both of those very similar patterns. Something I think is nearing an end. Now, like I said, it could be that it's just A, B, C. That's all just the A. This divergence is going to give you a correction for the B wave, and then it's going to go back up still for the C wave, and then this bigger correction will happen. So still more up, but it's getting more and more limited. So just be aware of that. Be ready. All right, let's move on to stocks. We're going to take a quick look at AMD. I'm just not in love with AMD's chart. This is very just choppy. Does not look like, go out to a 4-hour. I thought there was the potential that after this 5-wave move up, I do see a WXY, and then they gave that impulse correct and up, but this is still just very corrective, and especially with the Nasdaq and the S&P kind of getting toppy. I think I don't see this WXY being all the correction. Then is what I'm trying to say. Like if this was going to be going up and to challenge its all-time high 227, like this needs to like really start to get going here, and it's just kind of leaking. So I think this 3-wave move, this 3-wave correction. So you had a WXY, and then here's a 3-wave move. I could definitely see them coming all the way down underneath 141. It's some type of like A, B, C, or a WXY type of correction, and then maybe it'd be in a position to get going. So yeah, nothing bullish right now about AMD in my point of view. All right, let's look at Apple. So Apple obviously had their WWDC developer conference. And it was kind of interesting. I mean, as the conference is unfolding, Apple sells off, and then the next day, like everybody in the world decides Apple is the greatest company in the world, and it takes off. So now I really only see 2 patterns, so I need to go out to a daily on this. So as I've been saying, I see the very potential for a running flat to happen here. You had this big move up, And then they gave you the WXY, so that could be like the A wave. Because all we have had so far is an ABC up to there. So I've been saying I think that's A, ABC down, B, and then I do see 5 waves. So A, B, C, and now there's a potential that there's a strong sell-off if they're going to make this running flat pattern. Because then you have your A, your B, and now they'll come down for the C. That's the bearish case. And it seems almost impossible that you're going to get that kind of a move in Apple right now, because suddenly Apple has become very loved. And on a daily, there's not a whole lot of Actually, there's no divergence. So the other pattern then is that this is not going to be a running flat. And after this was all the correction. So that's like a 1 and a 2. And now they're making a diagonal here. This ABC up to here, that was 1. This ABC is 2. And then this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's just the A part of the third wave. And so I'd be looking for a correction down into this box, 206 to 198, 3 waves at least. And that'd be your B wave. And then back up, and that'll complete the third, if this is going to be a diagonal. So 1, 2, then this will happen. Correction, back up for 3, go down for 4, and then back up one more time for 5. And all these arrows or these lines will be changing. But so if you're bullish, then that's the pattern that you got to be looking for. That this is 1, this is 2. We're just starting the first, this was all the first wave of the third wave. So this will be 1, 2, and 3 will be above 220, probably even more like into the 230s. And then there'll be a pullback eventually for 4, and then you're still going up for 5. And then, yeah, actually the target for the third wave would actually be 239. So if you're bullish on Apple, you would love to see it to come into this box and hit target of 239. And that would be a really, really nice trade. So you have to watch what happens. Drill in on this 4-hour here. Have to watch, because it looks like they kind of started to sell off a little bit. Actually, what? So they hit their high Wednesday. So yeah, they just kind of been selling off. So if we just kind of see, it just kind of get weak into here, but this can hold and it starts to come up, then this might be going back up into that 230 range. So we'll watch when this box triggers what happens. Because obviously if this comes just blowing through it, then I don't think this is a diagonal. And then this could be making that C wave. So we'll see. That's Apple. I take a look at NVDA. I still can't believe this stock, but definitely looks like 1, 2, and then you got this little like A, B, and then it just keeps going. I can't even count all these little waves. It's just, this would all have to be the C wave, and this would be the third wave. So I would expect like a pullback for a 4 at some point. I mean, if this is 1 and 2, and that was 3, we need a 4, and then still more up for 5. So that's why I'm wondering if Apple isn't going to follow suit and just go back to Apple, and just give a correction down into here, and then still more up. And that would coincide with NVIDIA doing this type of correction for a 4, and then going up for the 5th wave to complete its third wave, actually. So NVIDIA would have a lot more to go, but we need some corrections. And NVIDIA there's no selling going on yet. So at some point, you're going to get a 4, I think, and then back up again for the fifth wave to complete this third wave. So I still see more up, but only after a correction. So I wouldn't be buying here. Gotta wait for a correction here at some point. I mean, it's just been overbought for a while, and you do have a little divergence happening here. So yeah, wait for that correction. And Tesla. All right, so Tesla really exploded here, and then when this news about Elon getting his huge package deal came out, then the market decided it didn't like that. So two patterns that I see here. And as I've been saying, I can't imagine that was this little three-wave move. That was all the correction. So I'm still expecting them to come up to 198. The only question is, what are they doing here? We do have a WXY correction. So that could be all the correction. And now, drill down to a 2R. All I see so far is 1, 2, 3 waves up, and then 1, 2, and 3 waves down. So we don't have, it's flip a coin. You're right in the middle of the 167 low and the 191 high. So if they're going to go up and break 198, I would think they're doing it in a diagonal. That 3 waves was 1. Somewhere around in here is 2. And then they should be exploding up for 3, give you a 4, and then still go back up for 5. And if they do that, I think they'll be taking out this 198. But after that, I would seriously think about getting out. So that's the bullish pattern, is that they're going to go up, take out 198 in 5 waves in a diagonal pattern. The bearish case would be, you got WXY, you got this 3-wave move, which is X, and now they're going to come all the way down, take out 167 in 3 waves. And so far, you got 3 to here. So I'd expect, at some point, maybe this would be like the A wave, you get like a B wave, and then a strong sell C wave. But if they do that, then it's just WXY, X, Z, and then they're going to go up, because this is all just correction. So yeah, you just got to pick your spot. You could buy it right here, but you got to know that there is a chance that they come under 167, and then you're just holding it for weeks. Or you just decide you're going to wait, and hopefully you can buy it here. Either one is valid. But yeah, Tesla, it does look good, because I still see them going up to 198. But like I said, it's just a matter of your risk tolerance. Can you afford, if buying here, taking a chance that it's going up for that diagonal, but knowing that it might come down for the Z wave before it goes up? Can you hold on? All right, so that's what I see on those stocks. Oh, we're going to look at Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin is just really going sideways here in a very tight range. There's one bearish count, very bearish count, and I'll show you that you had a 3-wave move down to here, and that's 1. And then you had this really big 3-wave move. 1, 2, and then almost broke the top, like I said last week. 3. So that could be 1, and then this 3-wave move is 2, and then they're in the process of making a diagonal, And so it'd be like 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, and then I would assume that they'll be making, this is going to be an ending diagonal. I think they have to drop it one more time for it to be a diagonal. But then you could be in the process of a diagonal. So that's 1, that's 2. This will be 3. They would give you a 4, and then they would come back down for 5, and then that whole thing would correct, and then still more down. So that's the bearish case, and then that tells me that they're going back at least to 60. We'll have to see the reactions on each level, but that's the bearish case. Now, this to me just looks very, very sideways, and so I think it's still just correction. So I think that's like a W, and this is an X, and then this is, well, I should say that's 3 waves. This is 3 waves, and this to me right here was 3 waves, and I thought we had a WXY, and then with that huge explosion, I thought they were going to be then coming up and taking out the high, so it'd be a WXY. But all they did is just gave a quick 1, 2, 3, and then they came back down. So that's why this piece right here could be turning into one of two things. Either this is going to be a 3-wave move, 3, 3, and then like 5, or 3, 3, and 3. You know, and it'll be like a big WXY, or this could be like 3 for A, that was B, and then this is going to be an ending diagonal, and this is 1, this was 2. Like I said, if it's going to be a diagonal, one more drop, that would be a 3, they'll give you a 4, and then a 5, and then you'd have a nice A, B, C right into this green box, probably like 62 to 64,000, and then that'd be an ABC, and then you'd have an ABC up, and then you'd have an ABC down, which means probably going up in a diagonal, like 1, 2, and then be going up for 3, 4, and 5. So a couple patterns that I see, just given how high this wave went, I feel like this is just all correction. And I don't feel like it's the start of a major down move. Like this is 1 and 2, and then you're going to be getting 3, 4, and 5. I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll know based on, I'm assuming it's going to break that 65 level one more time. And then at that point, the reaction from there will tell us if they're going to be going up, or if this is going to be turning into a diagonal. So I think there's one more drop in Bitcoin, and very possible then somewhere around in this 64 range. Could be looking for a reversal. So it's hard to tell right now, but just given how sideways this is, it looks corrective to me. But that could change real quick next week. So keep an eye on Bitcoin, especially I'd be looking for buy setups in the 64 range, because there is the potential that this starts to motor up. All right, that is the market as I see it. I hope it helps. Thanks for your likes and support. See you in the next video.